What's up, guys? We're back with a full slate of MLB action here on Wednesday, May 29th. Not our best showing on Tuesday, guys. It was a very weird, very annoying day. Right off the bat, we saw Baltimore just not play their best and lose that game. We had the Nationals plus 210. We knew that was a long shot, obviously a greater than 2-1 underdog, but they ended up out hitting their opponent in that game and still losing the game 2-0. So unfortunate there for sure. The Brewers lost an extra inning, so that was another tough one. The Royals couldn't really pull it together. Don't know what's going on with them. Our lone win of the day is looking like it's going to be Toronto minus 1.5. They're in a delay in the bottom of the ninth inning in that game, so very annoying, but they're up by 5, I believe, so they're in a pretty good spot. Hopefully they can finish this thing off for us. We saw the Yankees. They didn't come through for us either. They gave up a 1-run lead there in the 8th inning, giving up 2 runs in the 8th, and then not putting up anything on the board themselves in the top of the 9th, so another loss. Terrible, terrible day. Let's see if we can get back on track here with a full Wednesday slate. First, guys, do me a big favor and hit that like button. It's a great way to show some support for the channel and all the work we put in every single day. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe. It's 100% free and can keep you from missing out on these picks. Our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. Click the link in the description and go over there and join our free email list and check out our top confidence plays on all the major sports. Comment below with all the bets you're looking at today and we will give you our best advice on all of them. We respond to absolutely every single comment, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our final picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Cincinnati Reds. The Cardinals come into this game 26-27, fresh off of winning 7-1 there in game 2 of this series. Had to feel good there to see Nolan Arenado and Gorman each hit some home runs. We saw Kyle Gibson look very, very good. And yeah, the Cardinals just in general played great in that game. They're handing the ball in this one to Andre Palante. He's coming into this game going to be making his first Major League appearance since back on 4/20. So yeah, things didn't look great for him in that outing either. He went 3 innings, he had 5 hits and 3 runs to the Milwaukee Brewers, and in general he looked okay coming out of the bullpen. This is going to be his first start of the season, so we'll see what he can actually do out there. I mean, he's not going up against a great hitting team, so the guy's got a chance. He's 25 years old. He's a relatively young guy. He's not a huge dude out there on the mound. His 6.30 ERA for the season is a bit worrisome, but all that action was coming out of the bullpen, so we'll see what he can actually do out there on the bump to start a game. And the Cardinals offense has definitely been doing some good things, guys. They've been putting up some numbers lately. I mean, they scored 7. They only scored 1 run in game 1 of this series, so I mean, that's not great, but they scored 7 in game 2. They looked very good in their series against Chicago, very good in their series against Baltimore. Like, this is definitely a team trending in the right direction offensively. We're seeing Arenado and Goldschmidt get on track a little bit here. They are still 29th in the majors in runs scored, but they're all the way up to league average and on base percentage. Their batting average and slugging percentage numbers are trending in the right direction. I'm pretty excited about the direction of this offense in general, and they're taking on a Cincinnati Reds offense and a Cincinnati Reds team in general that's not looking great. They're 24-31 on the season, not really headed in the right direction anymore after, you know, that crazy weird series against the wildly slumping LA Dodgers, who seem like they've figured things out on their end. But right now, the Reds, they're handing the ball in this game to Frankie Montas, who's 2-3 on the season with a 4.61 ERA, coming off a pretty bad start against the, well, not a great start against the Dodgers, and then a decent but also not great start against the Padres. I mean, he gave up 9 hits in that game, and I guess if you're going to give up 9 hits, no home runs, and manage to pitch your way out of a lot of trouble, only giving up 4 earned runs, like, that's not a disaster necessarily, but yeah, not great. We've also seen the Reds go 0-4 over his last 4 starts, so that's also not ideal, but you don't get much run support as a Reds starting pitcher lately. I mean, this team is 19th in the majors in runs scored. They're second to last in the majors as a team, batting only .217. That's not great. They're getting on base at an under 300 clip. Like, this is just not a very good offensive squad, and yeah, they showed that in game 2 of this series, only scoring a single run. I mean, in game 1 of the series, they only scored 3, so not exactly a team that I'm super excited to be backing. And looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see it at a near coin flip. We've got the Cardinals at -102, the Reds at -116. We've got an over-under of 9.5 in this game, which is a little bit interesting given that, you know, neither one of these offenses are elite. I mean, we saw the Cardinals have a big game, and we still only saw 8 total runs scored. We see St. Louis is 27-24-2 to the under. The Reds are 28-25-2 to the under. Still, guys, probably not going to be riding the under in a game that's going to be played in the Great American Ballpark. Don't trust these offenses enough to ride the over. Don't have a ton of faith in either one of these starters in general, guys. I think this is maybe the start of the Cincinnati Reds hitting a little bit of a skid here. So if you're forcing me to bet this, I guess go with the Cardinals here. But yeah, this is not a pick that's going in the pinned comment for me. Next on the docket, guys, we got the Arizona Diamondbacks going on the road to take on the Texas Rangers. We saw the Diamondbacks take the loss there in Game 1 of this series, losing 4-2. They're 25-29 on the season, so not great. They're handing the ball in this game to Ryan Nelson. He's 3-3 on the year, with a 6.03 ERA. Not usually great to have your ERA number start with a 6. He's coming off a great start against the Dodgers, though. It was during that weird Dodgers slump, though, so definitely going to give him credit, but also, I mean, 5 innings, 5 hits, not a dominant outing. He didn't give up any runs, so that's great, but walked 3, struck out 5. And that was his first start after getting absolutely shelled, absolutely dismantled by the Tigers in a start where he went 4 innings, gave 11 hits and 8 earned runs. So he's had his ups and downs lately. I mean, definitely a big up there against the Dodgers, but what's he going to do in this one? We're going to have to wait and see, because I don't have a ton of faith in this guy. He hasn't been very consistent, and the Diamondbacks offense has not been consistently good here lately. It's kind of been consistently bad. Over their last 4 games, they've scored 2, 1, 3, and 0 runs. Like, that's not great. That spans 1 game against the Rangers and 3 games against the Marlins. Like, that's not what this offense was looking like in the early goings, guys. They're all the way down to 15th in the majors in slugging percentage. They're hovering around league average in most of the important numbers, guys. This is not a team that looks like they had the legs to hold on to that great offense they were flashing early. So we'll have to see what they can do in this game, going up against the Rangers, who come to this one 26-29 on the season, but they've won 2 in a row, so that has to feel good. We saw Seager hit a 3-run home run to put the Rangers on top in Game 1 of this series, so I'm sure they're pumped about that. They're handing the ball in this game to Dane Dunning, who they're probably not devastated to be handing the ball to. I mean, he's 3-3 on the year with a 4.43 ERA. He is coming off not the best start in the world, but it was against the Phillies, so we'll cut him a little bit of slack there. His 2 starts before that against the Royals and the Reds were pretty decent, and they have gone 3-2 over his last 5 starts, so not going to beat the guy up a whole bunch for getting shelled by the Philadelphia Phillies. They are one of the best offenses in the majors, so that's going to happen to you every once in a while, and you can not super count on this offense right now. I mean, I don't know. They're looking a little bit better. They scored 6 and 2 runs over their last 2 games, but man, that series against the Twins did not look great. I mean, their series against the Phillies also didn't look great. This team's down to 12th in the majors in runs scored. Their league average, batting .242 as a team. 17th in slugging percentage. Like, this is just not an elite offensive team in my eyes, guys. I mean, we're seeing Corey Seager come alive here a little bit. Josh Smith is batting .280, but how much faith do we really have in this offense? For me, guys, it's not a ton. And looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Diamondbacks, they are plus 104. The Rangers are minus 122. We got an over-under in this game of 9, which is kind of interesting to me. I mean, we see that Arizona is 29, 23, and 2 to the under. We see the Rangers are 32, 21, and 2 to the under. Those are 2 pretty big trends towards the under. And while we're not necessarily in love with either one of these starters, they're both coming off of relatively serviceable outings. I mean, getting knocked around by the Phillies, we're not going to, the Phillies offense and the Diamondbacks offense are not the same, guys. So we're going to be on the under in this game. I'm not 100% sure if it'll end up in the pin comment, but I think it's good value. Definitely riding the trends in this one, and both pitchers have the stuff to have good outings, so I think we're looking at an under in this game pretty confidently. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Philadelphia Phillies going on the road to take on the San Francisco Giants. We saw the Phillies take the loss in Game 1 of this series. They're currently in the bottom of the 10th inning right now in Game 2, tied up at 0-0. So pretty unexciting game, but man, seeing what they can do in this one, it's pretty interesting to see this game go this deep with no offense, especially for the Phillies, but in general, in this game, we're looking at the Phillies handing the ball to Christopher Sanchez, who's 2-3 on the season with a 3.15 ERA, coming off of a good but not really amazing start there against the Colorado Rockies. I mean, he only gave up a single run, but he gave up 7 hits over 5 1/3. He only struck out 2 and walked 1, so not amazing, but his start before that was very good against the Washington Nationals, and we've seen the Phillies go 3-2 over his last 5 starts, so that's pretty solid, but he really hasn't been facing the toughest competition in terms of hitters, and the Giants might be a little bit of a step up for him here. I mean, the Phillies come into this game, their offense has not been looking too hot. They've actually lost 2 in a row coming into this game and 3 of 4, so we'll see if they can get things done on the road playing away from home. That can be a little bit tough, but losing 8-4 in Game 1 of this series can't look great. And yeah, this team really just not hitting their stride right now. It's weird to see the Phillies and the Dodgers struggling at the same time there for a bit, but it seems like the Dodgers are probably back on track. It'll be interesting to see if the Phillies can get back on track here. Obviously, they're still one of the best offenses in the MLB, but they're not really swinging the hottest bats right now, and they're taking on a Giants team who comes into this game. They've actually won 5 of their last 6, looked very, very good in Game 1 of this series. They're 28-27 on the season, handing the ball in this game to Kyle Harrison, who's been very good. He's 4-1 with a 3.90 ERA. He's had a little bit of a tough time over his last 2, maybe 3 starts even you could throw in there. I mean, against the Mets, he went 5 innings, gave up 4 earned runs, 5 runs in all, walked 2. He gave up 2 home runs, which isn't great, but he hadn't given up a home run in the 4 starts before that, so maybe that's a little bit of a fluke there. I mean, I don't know. We have seen the Giants win all 5 of his last 5 starts, so that's definitely something to take into consideration here, and we're seeing the Giants offense look quite a bit better. I mean, they've scored 8, 3, 7, 8, 7, and 9 runs over their last few games. I mean, obviously they're scoreless in this one going into the bottom of the 10th, so maybe not the absolute, best hitters in the league right now, not swinging the hottest bats in the league, but this squad has worked their way up into being a top 10 offense. I mean, they're 9th in runs scored, 9th in batting average, batting .250 as a team. Like, that is very respectable. They're 8th in the majors in on-base percentage. Like, this is a team that can find a way to manufacture some runs for sure. And looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see that the Phillies, they're minus 130. The Giants are plus 114. We've got an over-under in this game of 8. We do see the Phillies are 16-9 on the road, but the Giants are 16-10 at home. They're a very good home team. We see both teams showing trends, but rather slight trends here to the over. And with an over-under of 8, we could definitely take a little bit of a look there at the over. But guys, I think I'm going to be siding with the San Francisco Giants plus 114 at home in this game. I mean, I think Harrison is a very good starter. I don't have that much faith here in Sanchez. He hasn't been terrible, don't get me wrong, but neither one of these guys have been facing elite opposing hitters lately. So give me the Giants at home, where they're very, very good this season, with some sort of chance to end in the pin comment, but I'm not 100% sure on this one, whether it's going to end up in there or not. It's very appealing to be getting the Giants at home, getting plus numbers, though. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the LA Dodgers going on the road to take on the New York Mets. We saw the Dodgers win both games of that doubleheader there, guys. They won 5-2 in Game 1 and 3-0 in Game 2. They looked very, very good. I mean, they didn't pile up a ton of runs, but has to feel good for them to get back on the winning track. They're 35-22 on the season, handing the ball in this game to James Paxton, who's 5-0 on the year with a 3.49 ERA, coming off of probably his worst start of the season, guys, where he got knocked around by the Cincinnati Reds. Really, really weird to see him have such a hard time against the Reds 2 starts in a row. I mean, he went 6 innings, gave up 3 earned runs on 7 hits, then went 4 2/3, gave up 5 hits, 5 earned runs. He gave up 2 home runs in each one of those outings. Like, these just honestly feel like flukes to me against a Reds team that's not a very good hitting team. I mean, Paxton has been very, very good all season, so I expect him to bounce back for sure. And the Dodgers offense seems like it's getting back into the swing of things, no pun intended there. I mean, they scored 5 and 3 runs in the 2 games they played yesterday, so they'll definitely take that. We see Mookie Betts and Ohtani still both swinging the bat well. I mean, Ohtani's been battling that injury, and there's been, talk about how he's recovering from all the stuff he's had going on, guys. He's had a lot of stuff going on this season. It's been kind of impressive to see him shake it off, but I think we can feel pretty decent about where Ohtani's at, and just in general, this offense is looking very, very good. Hoping they can keep things rolling here against a Mets team that's now lost 2 in a row, and yeah, just not having a good time over their last several games, guys. I mean, they're down to 22-32 on the season, handing the ball in this one to David Peterson, who's just coming off the IL. He's going to be making his first start of the season. He was missed a lot of time, out 6 to 7 months with that hip surgery, so he's back out there at the bump. It'll be interesting to see what he can do in this game, but yeah, no stats to look at for him from this season, and coming out here fresh with your first start of the year going to be against the Dodgers cannot be the best feeling, guys. I mean, the Mets not swinging the hottest bats either. They only scored 2 runs yesterday, covering 18 innings, so that's not ideal. They're down to 20th in the majors in runs scored, 17th in on-base percentage. They're only hitting .236 as a team. They're a bottom 20 team, or a bottom 10 team in the majors in terms of slugging percentage. Like, this is just not a good offensive team. No way around that. And guys, I'm pretty surprised looking at the numbers for this game. Honestly, like, we see the Dodgers at only minus 130 with Paxton out there on the mound. I guess the odds makers just have no faith in him right now because he's looked a little bit shaky in those 2 starts against the Reds, but I think those are just weird. I think we're going to see him get back on track here going up against a Mets team that is also not a very good hitting team, and the over-under in this game is 8.5. Not interested in that. Definitely give me the Dodgers minus 130 in this game. They're 14-11 on the road. The Mets are only 11-17 at home. That is a terrible home mark. Definitely give me the Dodgers in this one. Next on the docket, guys, we got the Miami Marlins going on the road to take on the San Diego Padres. The Marlins come in this game fresh off of a 4-0 loss in Game 2 of this series. They lost Game 1 2-1. They're 19-37 on the season, so can't be feeling great about that. Handing the ball in this one to Braxton Garrett, who's 1-0 on the year with a 5.30 ERA. But yeah, guys, I mean, he's definitely coming off of his best start of the season by a light year. I mean, he went 9 innings, complete game action there against the Arizona Diamondbacks, gave up 4 hits and struck out 6, so he looked amazing. But man, his first 2 starts of the season have not been anything like that. He got shelled by the Mets and shelled by the Phillies. Getting shelled by the Phillies, sure, man, that's totally fine. Your first start of the season, having a hard time against the Phillies, that makes sense to me. But then getting shelled by the Mets, not a great look. Shutting out the Arizona Diamondbacks, definitely impressive. Anytime you have a complete game shutout, that's an amazing outing. But let's see how you back it up in this one. His stuff obviously hasn't looked amazing this year, and the Marlins offense clearly isn't looking amazing. I mean, they're 28th in the majors in runs scored, 29th in the majors in slugging percentage and on base percentage. They're only getting on base at a 288 clip. Like, that is just absolutely terrible. They're going to have to find a way to score some runs here against the Padres, who come into this game winners of 3 in a row. It seems like they're getting on track here. They're 30-28 on the season. Handing the ball in this game to Yu Darvish, that has to feel pretty great. Darvish is 4-2 on the season with a 3.04 ERA, and he's in a huge bounce back spot, guys. He got knocked around by the Yankees his last time out. He went 5 2/3 innings, gave up 9 hits and 7 earned runs. He gave up 4 home runs in that game, guys. Like, come on. Darvish is really, really, really good. He's going to find a way to bounce back for this game for sure. I mean, over his 4 starts before that start against the Yankees, he had insane starts against both the Dodgers and the Atlanta Braves. Like, he is a huge plus pitcher out there on the mound, and it seems like the Padres offense is maybe starting to figure things out a little bit here. I mean, they've only scored 4, 2, and 5 runs over their last 3 games, but on paper, this team should be putting up way more offense. I mean, they're 4th in the majors in batting average, 6th in the majors getting on base at a 322 clip. Like, this is a very, very good offensive team. They just have to, like, string some stuff together here, get some runs across the plate, and they should be in for a nice winning streak with some nice, easy starts for their pitching staff, which kind of feels like, to me, really deserves it. And looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Marlins at plus 145, the Padres at minus 164. We've got an over-under in this game of 7.5. We see the Marlins are only 9-17 on the road, so not very good on the road. We do also note that the Padres are 12-17 at home, so not great at home. But guys, I think we're going to be on the Padres in this game. This is a huge bounce back spot for Darvish. I think he's going to be dominant out there. He seemed very, very upset, very dejected with the way things went against the Yankees, and I expect the Padres and Darvish to get it done in this game in a big, big way. Moving right along here, guys, we're looking at the Boston Red Sox going on the road to take on the Baltimore Orioles. We saw the Red Sox surprisingly come away with the 8-3 win there in Game 2 of this series. They're only 28-27 on the year, though, handing the ball in this game to Cutter Crawford, who's 2-3 on the season with a 2.89 ERA. We actually see that the Red Sox are 0-4 over his last 4 starts, and his last time out he got shelled by the Brewers. Start before that, he did not have a very good time against the Cardinals. He gave up 6 hits, only a single earned run, but it was a game his team lost 7-2. And yeah, just in general, not super happy with how he's looking out there on the mound. He's managing to kind of preserve his numbers, but yeah, in general, this guy not nearly as good as his numbers would seem to suggest, at least if you're asking my opinion. And yeah, just not super high right now on Cutter Crawford. The Red Sox offense did come alive for 8 runs there in Game 2 of this series, but they have not been swinging the hottest bats. They had that little 4-game winning streak there where they swept the Rays, and they were playing well then, but over their last, we'll look at their last 5 games, they've scored 8, 3, 2, 3, and 2 runs. Like, that's not amazing. This is not a great offensive team. They're hovering around league average in most of the major categories. They are a decent slugging percentage team, slugging the ball at a 402 clip, but yeah, they're exactly league average in runs scored. They're only hitting 243 as a team, which is 14th in the majors. Like, not an elite offense. Maybe they're a hair above average, but I don't really think so in the long run. So we'll have to see what they can actually do out there going up against the Orioles here in Game 3. Baltimore had their little winning streak snapped. I mean, not that little of a winning streak. They had won 5 games in a row. 4 of them were against the Chicago White Sox, but still, those were all convincing wins. So to lose 8-3 in this one was a little bit annoying, especially since we had it in the pinned comment. The Orioles are 34-19 on the season, though, and handing the ball in this game to Corbin Burns had to feel pretty great about that. The dude is 4-2 on the season with a 2.60 ERA. He's coming off of a serviceable start against the White Sox. Not exactly dominant. It seems like a lot of pitchers just kind of take the day off against the White Sox and maybe don't try as hard or maybe just aren't as amped up. But he went 6 innings, gave up 7 hits, 3 earned runs, struck out 6. The start before that, though, was very, very notable, guys. He went 6 innings against the Seattle Mariners. He struck out 11 in that outing, did not give up an earned run in that outing. So a very solid start from him there, and I expect to see him much more locked in here going up against the Boston Red Sox. The Orioles offense obviously didn't look amazing there in Game 2, but in Game 1 they put up 11 runs. Like, this is definitely a team that can score some runs. They're a very good home team as well. We do see Gunnar Henderson, 17 home runs, batting nearly 260. This team, 6th in the majors in runs scored, still 1st in slugging percentage, which is very, very impressive. They've been holding on to that pretty much all season long. They are only 23rd in the majors in on base percentage, which is a little bit concerning. I mean, there's some guys up there really swinging from their heels, but overall, this is an offense that we can definitely feel good about. And looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the odds makers are really feeling good about this offense. They got the Red Sox at plus 160, the Orioles at minus 174. We got an over-under in this game of 8 or 7.5. We see Boston is 17-12 on the road, which is good. We see Baltimore is 18-11 at home, which is also pretty good. We see Baltimore is an MLB best 28-20-5 to the over. So, guys, honestly, if you wanted to take a little look at that over 7.5, I wouldn't blame you there. In general, I'm going to be leaning towards the Orioles minus 174, or maybe even the Orioles minus 1.5, but I don't really think the numbers are really good enough for me to put this in the pinned comment unless we really don't have a bunch of other games that we love. Yeah, so Orioles minus 174, I think they're in a very good spot to win this game, but is that really a price that we're interested in? We'll just have to wait and see. Next on the docket, guys, we got the Washington Nationals going on the road to take on the Atlanta Braves. Washington could not come through for us as big underdogs yesterday, guys. It was pretty disappointing to see them out-hit the Atlanta Braves, but still lose that game 2-0. So, yeah, pretty disappointing. I guess we should have went with the under in that game, but Nationals 24-29 on the season, handing the ball in this game to Mackenzie Gore, who's 3-4 on the year with a 3.04 ERA, and coming off a great start there against the Seattle Mariners, where he went 7 innings, gave up only a single earned run on 4 hits, and he struck out 8 in that game. He just looked very, very good out there, albeit against a light-hitting opponent, but this guy has been looking very, very good over at least his last 3 starts. He kind of had a hiccup there against the Toronto Blue Jays, but other than that, he has looked very, very good recently, and facing some solid teams too. He had a good start there against the Phillies, good start there against Boston. Like, this is definitely a plus level starter out there for me. And looking at the Nationals batting numbers right now, their offense not looking super crazy hot. I mean, they scored 0 runs in game 2 of this series after scoring 8 in game 1. So yeah, consistency definitely a problem. I mean, they're only 24th in the majors in runs scored, 24th in the majors in team batting average. They're only getting on base at a 304 clip. So this is not exactly a plus level offense if you ask me, and they're going to need to find a way to put up some runs here against the Atlanta Braves, who maybe aren't having the best time hitting the ball themselves right now, but they are going to be handing the ball in this game to Spencer Schwellenbach. He is going to be making his first start of the season, and I'm pretty sure the first start of his career here coming out of the minor leagues. Don't have a ton of information on this guy right now. Not super high on him personally. I mean, there's a reason they haven't had him up yet, and yeah, it'll be interesting. He's not a big guy. He's only 6'1". He's a right-hander, so we'll see what he can actually do out there on the mound going up against a Nationals team, which is not necessarily, loaded with big-time hitters. The Braves haven't really been swinging the hottest bats themselves recently. I mean, only 2 runs in this last game, only 4 runs in the game before that. This is not a team that's just killing the ball. They were early in the season, don't get me wrong, guys, but they've been trending more towards league average recently. They are still 7th in the majors in on-base percentage and 7th in the majors in slugging percentage. So, this is not a team full of slouches, but losing Ronald Acuna is definitely a huge blow. So we'll see how they do moving on from him for the rest of the season, but definitely got to be tough to see one of your better guys go down like that. Not a good feeling at all. And looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Nationals are plus 136. The Braves are minus 150. And we've got an over-under in this game of 9. Over-under of 9 seems a bit high to me. I mean, we don't have the Braves hitting the cover off the ball here against Mackenzie Gore. We are pretty concerned about the A's starting pitcher, though, so we're probably a little bit too scared to take the under in this game, although I feel like it's worth a look with Atlanta 31-19-2 to the under this season. We do see Washington is 14-16 on the road, which is an acceptable number for sure. Atlanta is 17-9 at home. Washington is plus 136. The Braves are minus 150. This is just too tough of a game to figure out for me, guys. I mean, with Schwellenbach, a minor leaguer, out on the mound for the Braves, I think I'm going to lean towards the Nationals plus 136. I don't know how much faith we really have in this one. I mean, it's a weird spot for sure. I do think leaning towards the Nationals plus 136 is a reasonable play, though, especially with Mackenzie Gore out there on the mound, a guy who's been very reasonably good lately. So go ahead and give me the Nationals plus 136 in this one as a semi-significant lean. It's a great price, so we're definitely interested in this one. It could find its way into the pinned comment if we really just can't handle any of those expensive prices on the other teams. I just wish it was a little bit more in this game. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Chicago Cubs going on the road to take on the Milwaukee Brewers. The Cubs come into this game fresh off of a 6-3 win in Game 2 of this series. They lost Game 1 5-1, so that probably didn't feel great, but bounce back a little bit here. They are only 28 to 27 on the season, but they've got to be pumped to be hitting the ball in this game to Shota Imanaga. He is 5-0 on the year with a 0.84 ERA coming off of a dominant start against the Pittsburgh Pirates, where the Cubs won 1-0. He went 7 innings, gave up 4 hits, no runs. He struck out 7 and walked 1. This dude is looking absolutely insane out there this season, just mowing everybody down, looking like an absolute monster. He doesn't have a start against the Brewers yet this year, but I don't think we're too worried about that. He has just been amazing against every single opponent that he faces. I mean, over his last 5 games, the most runs he's given up is 2. Like, dude is absolutely lights out, looking like one of the best pitchers in the majors for sure this season. And the Cubs offense came alive a little bit there in game 2, but they haven't been great recently. They're down to 17th in the majors in runs scored. They are 18th in the majors on base percentage, 26th in the league, batting only .226 as a squad. Like, not an elite offensive team whatsoever. So that's a little bit concerning. They're taking on the Milwaukee Brewers, who have been a very good offensive team, but they're handing the ball in this game to Bryce Wilson, who has not figured in a result yet this season. He actually didn't start his last game, but he still went 5 1/3 innings against the Boston Red Sox. He gave up 6 hits, 2 earned runs, a home run while striking out 7. He's been a kind of an odd guy. I mean, he's put up pretty good numbers, don't get me wrong, but his team hasn't had great luck with him out there on the mound. I mean, a 2.86 ERA is extremely respectable stuff, guys. And I mean, definitely have to give him credit where credit is due. He has not faced the Cubs yet this season, so that's, I mean, a little bit annoying depending. I mean, it's great to have some head-to-head data, but in general, we can look at him as maybe not a plus level starter, but at least a plus level arm. We just don't really know how long he's going to be able to go, how deep he's going to be able to go into this game. I mean, he did have a 6-inning start where he only gave a single hit to the Royals. That was back on the 6th. So this dude's definitely got what it takes to be a good starter. And the Brewers offense has been very good this season overall. And lately they've been fine, I guess. I mean, 3 runs, 5 runs, 1 run, 6 runs, 7 runs. Like, they haven't been a disaster, but they haven't exactly been killing it lately. They're 6th in the majors in runs scored, 5th in the majors in batting average. Like, it looks like this is clearly going to be a top 5 or top 10 offense in the majors this season. But how much faith do we have in them to be able to put up runs against Imanaga, somebody nobody's been able to hit this season? Seems a little bit tough to me. Looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Cubs are minus 134. The Brewers are plus 115. We've got an over-under in this game of 7.5. We do see Milwaukee is 13-9 at home. The Cubs are only 12-16 on the road. We see kind of mixed trends here. I mean, Milwaukee is the biggest over team in the majors. I'm pretty sure at 30-22-2 to the over. Chicago is 30-23-2 to the under. So those are some mixed trends. I don't think under 7.5 is the worst play out there, but I think we're going to be on the Cubs minus 134 is our lean in this game. I mean, Imanaga out there on the mound, very, very hard to pass that up when you can pencil a guy in for basically almost an automatic 7 scoreless innings. It's really hard to not take that side in a game, even especially if you're getting a decent price at minus 134. So give me the Cubs in this game. We'll see if it ends up in the pinned comment. I think it's got a very good chance with Imanaga on the mound. Next on the docket, guys, we got the Kansas City Royals going on the road to take on the Minnesota Twins. Kansas City not playing well right now, guys. They've now lost 3 in a row. Not a team that likes to be on the road. They lost 4-2 in game 2 of this series, so not looking great. They're handing the ball in this game to Seth Lugo, who's been very, very good, though. He's 8-1 in the season with a 1.74 ERA, coming off of a very, very good start against the Tampa Bay Rays, where he went 7 innings, gave up 4 hits, only a single earned run. He's been absolutely dominant over his last 5 starts. We see that the Royals are 4-1 over those 5 starts, so definitely feel good with Lugo on the mound, but not feeling great about the Royals offense that scored 2, 5, and 1 runs over their last 3 games. Definitely not swinging the hottest bats in this one, so definitely some question mark there. They're going to have to get back on track here against the Twins, who are looking pretty good, guys. They've now won 6 of their last 7 games. They're up to 30-24 on the season. Handing the ball in this game to Bailey Ober, who's an absolute monster out there. He's 5-2 with a 4.33 ERA. He's coming off a good start against the Rangers, where he went 5 innings, gave up 2 earned runs on 4 hits in a game that his team won 3-2. So that has to feel pretty good. In general, right now, Ober's looking great. The Twins' offense is also putting up some decent numbers. I mean, 4 runs, 6 runs, 2 runs, 5 runs. Not elite, but not terrible. They're finding a way to put together some offense, but they haven't been a great offensive team this season. They're only getting on base at a 304 clip, which is 24th in the majors, so I think we can expect a little bit of regression from them. And yeah, looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Twins at minus 122, the Royals at plus 110, and we see an over-under of 7.5. We see both teams showing pretty extensive trends towards the under, and while I do like Bulls starting pitchers, I don't like Bulls offenses very much, so guys, go ahead and give me under 7.5. I know it's a very small number, but I think we're definitely going to see offense come at a premium in this game. This actually, even at 7.5, has a chance to end up in the pinned comment. Next on the docket, guys, we got the Toronto Blue Jays going on the road to take on the Chicago White Sox. The Blue Jays have been killing it in this series. They won 5-1 and then 7-2. Just cruising along here, looking great. They're handing the ball in this game to Alek Manoah, who's 1-2 on the year with a 3.97 ERA. Coming off not the best start, guys. This last time out against Detroit, he went 4 2/3 innings, gave up 4 earned runs, 6 runs overall. He gave up 2 home runs in that start. A huge departure, a huge letdown from his great start against the Tampa Bay Rays. So definitely some questions for me about Manoah, but the Blue Jays offense is finally coming alive. They scored 11, 5, and 7 runs over their last 3. We see Vladimir Guerrero Jr. starting to hit the ball well, and we saw, just in general, we saw Schneider look really good. 3 hits, 3 RBIs. They are killing it right now, so definitely feel positive about their offense coming into this game. And the White Sox at 15-41 on the year don't have anything to feel good about. They're riding a 7-game losing streak now. Handing the ball in this one to Chris Flexen, who's 2-4 on the year with a 5.69 ERA, coming off of a start where he gave up 4 earned runs over 4 2/3 against the Orioles. He has not had a good time. We see the White Sox are only 1-4 in his last 5 starts. He just has not been great this season, and you have to be great to get wins here for the Chicago White Sox, who have the worst offense in the majors. It's not even particularly close anymore. They're only batting .215 as a team. They're only getting on base at a .278 clip. Like, this is a laughably bad offense. And guys, I'm not surprised to see the Blue Jays as big favorites in this game. They're -170. The White Sox are +150. We've got an over/under in this game of 8.5, with both teams showing pretty sizable trends towards the under. So definitely worth taking a look at under 8.5 in this game. I also like the Blue Jays -170. I think that's a very live play. I think we can count on Manoah to have some sort of bounce back, and even if he's not elite, he should do well here against these terrible White Sox hitters. So give me the Blue Jays -170 or under 8.5 in this game. One of those two plays is very likely to end up in the pinned comment. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Cleveland Guardians going on the road to take on the Colorado Rockies. Cleveland comes into this game 37-18 on the season, fresh off of a Game 2 win where they won 13-7. Some crazy offensive numbers going on in Coors Field. No shocker there. Cleveland's handing the ball in this game to Logan Allen, who is 6-2 on the season with a 4.89 ERA, coming off a decent start against the Angels. Not great, though, guys. He had 7 hits, 3 earned runs over 5 2/3. It was a game we saw his team win 10-4, which is nice, but definitely a letdown after 2 fantastic starts where he didn't give up a run despite giving up at least 5 hits in each one of them. So, I mean, he's looked good for sure, don't get me wrong, but this guy can definitely give up some hits, give up some runs. The Guardians' bats have been looking very good, though, lately. They've scored 13, 6, 5, 4, and 10 runs over their last 5, so swinging some relatively hot bats. They're 3rd in the majors in runs scored, 10th in the majors in on-base percentage. Like, this is a team that just knows how to produce some offense, and they're looking pretty good here going up against the Rockies, who come into this game fresh off of that loss. They're only 19-35 on the season, hitting the ball in this one to Ty Blatch, who's still looking for his first result of the year. He started in his last 3 appearances. A great start against the Rangers where he went 5 innings, gave only a single earned run. He did give up 7 hits, though. And then in his next start, he only lasted 3 innings, getting destroyed by the Giants. Start after that, he looked very serviceable against the Phillies back on the 24th, where he went 6 2/3, gave only 2 earned runs. Both home runs, so a couple of mistakes there for sure, but he did look pretty good in that game, so definitely have to give him some credit there. And the Rockies' offense, they did score 7 runs in Game 2 of this series and 8 in Game 1, so they're not looking terrible. This isn't an offense that I have a ton of faith in for obvious reasons. I mean, they're only 19th in the majors in on-base percentage, and they haven't been good all year long, but they can put up some runs. Anybody can put up some runs in Coors Field. They are 10th in the majors in batting average after all, so not terrible. The numbers of this game, we've got the Guardians at -150, the Rockies at +132. We've got over-unders of 11 or 10.5. We do see Cleveland's a very solid road team. They're 18-12 on the road this season, so that's pretty encouraging. 27, 24, and 3 to the over. Both teams showing slight trends towards the over, but I don't think I'm super interested in that. I am interested in the Guardians -150 on the road here, though. I mean, Ty Blatch isn't somebody that fills me with tons of optimism, and Cleveland can find a way to score some runs, and Logan Allen's been looking good, so go ahead and give me Cleveland -150 in this one, but I don't think I have enough faith in the high variance play there at Coors Field to put this one in the pinned comment. Next up, guys, we've got the New York Yankees going on the road to take on the Los Angeles Angels. The Yankees come to this game losers of 2 in a row. They gave up the lead there in the 8th inning for us. That was terrible yesterday. Very disappointing to see. They're 37-19 on the season, handing the ball in this one to Luis Gil, who's 6-1 on the year with a 2.11 ERA. Absolutely killing it lately. He hasn't given up more than 1 earned run over his last 5 starts, and he's had starts against teams like Baltimore, Houston, and Seattle and Tampa Bay in there. So, he's been looking good even against some pretty decent offensive teams. absolutely killing it right now. His last start was against Seattle. He went 6 1/3 innings, gave up only a single hit, no runs while striking out 8 and walking 2. That was after striking out 14 against the Chicago White Sox in 6 innings. Like, that is crazy, crazy stuff there, guys. And the Yankees bats, they've got to come back alive at some point. I mean, they've had 2 games where they haven't looked very good at all. I mean, 2 runs and then 3 runs, not exactly killing it. They're hoping they can get this offense, this high-powered offense, back on track here, taking on the Angels, who come into this game fresh off of a win, but they really needed that win after getting swept by the Cleveland Guardians. They're only 21-33 on the season, handing the ball in this game to Tyler Anderson, who's been pretty good this year. He's 5-4 overall with a 2.52 ERA, coming off a great start against the Houston Astros, where he went 8 innings, gave up 6 hits, only a single earned run. So that's pretty impressive stuff if you ask me. I mean, over his last 2 starts, he's been really, really good, and he maybe hasn't had maybe the best time pitching at home, but he hasn't been terrible even against teams like Kansas City during their hot streak there hitting the ball, and against the Phillies he looked very good at home. So yeah, definitely looking at Tyler Anderson as a plus pitching option out there. And the Angels offense, they haven't really been doing great lately. I mean, they've scored 4, 4, 3, and 4 runs over their last 4 games. Not exactly killing it. They're about a league average offense, 16th in the majors in runs scored, 19th in the majors, getting on base at a 307 clip. Like, this is not a team I'm looking at as a great offensive one. And looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Angels at plus 162, the Yankees at minus 178, and we've got an over-under of 8.5 in this game. We do see the Angels are an MLB worst, 6-19 at home, so taking the Yankees is kind of appealing. But guys, I'm more focused on the under in this game. I mean, it's 8.5. We love both starting pitchers in this matchup. The Yankees offense isn't exactly mashing right now, and I don't think they're going to be mashing against Tyler Anderson. So go ahead and give me the under 8.5 in this game. This is, I think, a very good spot. Definitely ending up in the pinned comment. I mean, the Yankees 30, 23, and 2 to the under. LA is showing slight signs to the over, but not swinging very good bats right now, and I don't expect them to do anything against Luis Gil, so this definitely looks like an under spot to me. Last but not least, guys, we're looking at the Houston Astros going on the road to take on the Seattle Mariners. Houston comes into this game fresh off of losing both of the first 2 games of the series. They lost 3-2 in Game 1, 4-2 in Game 2. They're 24-31 on the season, so not where they wanted to be. They're handing the ball in this game to Justin Verlander, who's 3-2 on the season with a 3.60 ERA, coming off a solid bounce-back start, albeit against the Oakland A's, where he went 6 innings, gave 8 hits, but only a single earned run. He struck out 9 in that outing, so he's definitely reaching back and trying to find some better stuff, trying to settle into this series, into this season, but it just doesn't feel like he's got his best stuff out there anymore. I mean, we'll give the guy some credit. He's a million years old. He's 41, so like, I don't know, guys. It's hard to know what to expect from him on a nightly basis, but he is taking on a pretty weak hitting team this season, and I mean, it's a team that he hasn't faced this year, so that's got to be nice for him. And the Astros offense, though, has been a problem. They're not putting up a ton of runs right now. This team is 11th in the majors in runs scored, 1st in the majors in batting average, but over their last 5 games, they've only scored 2, 2, 5, 1, and 6 runs. Like, not amazing by any stretch of the imagination. They're going to need to score some runs here against the Mariners, who now won 3 in a row. They're 30-26 on the season, handing the ball in this one to George Kirby, who's 4-5 on the year with a 4.33 ERA. He's coming off of back-to-back starts where he's given up at least 5 earned runs. His last time he gave up 5 earned runs on 6 hits over 6 innings to the Nationals, so that's not exactly great, and you can't count on a ton of run support from the Mariners offense. They're 27th in the majors in runs scored, 22nd in the majors in slugging percentage. They're only getting on base at a 298 clip. Like, this is just not a great offensive team, and they've been a little bit better recently, but not crazy. I mean, they did score 9 runs in Game 3 there against Washington, but in the series so far, they've scored 4 and 3 runs over the first 2 games respectively, so not going to freak out about that. Looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Astros at minus 102, the Mariners at minus 115, and an over-under all the way down at 7 for this game. Houston is only 8-15 on the road. They're 30, 21, and 3 to the under. We've got both teams showing significant trends to the under, but with an over-under of only 7, probably not brave enough to take that. Seattle is 16-10 at home, but guys, we don't have a lot of faith here in George Kirby. I've got a good amount of faith in Verlander to have another good start against a pretty poor hitting team, so go ahead and give me the Houston Astros minus 102 in this game. I think they're in a very good spot to get a win here and salvage a win in this series that hasn't been going their way so far. That's all the games we have time for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out stumpthespread.com, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.